Good day, everyone. Let's talk about something that's at the heart of safety in our workplaces, the Permit to Work or PTW system. I'm going to start by asking you three simple but important questions. How do you create a PTW form that truly works for your industry? What are the most important points to keep in mind? And can we actually merge different permits into one? Let's unpack this together. First, let's clarify what a PTW form really is. It's far more than just a piece of paper. It's a crucial control tool that helps us manage high-risk jobs safely. If we put the right effort into creating and using it, we're taking steps that can truly save lives and stop accidents before they happen. Now let's talk about the most important considerations when you're putting together your PTW form first. Always reflect actual site conditions. It's tempting to grab a form off the internet or borrow a format from another site, but that can be a big mistake. Every workplace is unique. Your PTW form must be tailored to the specific hazards and tasks that are present in your environment. Only then will it really serve its purpose. Second, keep it simple and clear. Remember, this form isn't just for safety officers, it's for everyone who's involved in the job. Use plain, everyday language. Add visuals like checkboxes and icons to make things easier to understand at a glance. The simpler it is, the more likely people will actually use it. Third, involve the workers who will be using the form. This is so important. When we bring workers into the process, when we ask them what's practical and what's missing, they take ownership. Their input ensures the form isn't just sitting in a file, it's part of the job, and everyone buys into it. By keeping these points in mind, site-specific needs, clarity, and worker involvement, you're not just ticking boxes, you're building a PTW system that truly protects people and prevents accidents. Before we jump into what a Permit to Work form should include, it's important to tackle a common question. Can we consolidate different permits into one? The short answer is yes, to some extent. Many workplaces choose to combine various permits, such as hot work, cold work, work at height, confined space entry, mechanical work, and electrical work, into a single unified PTW format. This can really help by streamlining paperwork and creating a more consistent process across different jobs. However, there's an important point to remember. Certain specialized tasks, like confined space entry, will always need their own dedicated checklists or addendums. These additional documents ensure that no critical safety steps are missed. And let's not forget, in the real world, tasks often happen simultaneously. For example, you might have confined space entry happening alongside hot work, or a job at height that involves both hot and cold work, or even mechanical work combined with electrical work inside a confined space. That's why your PTW form must go beyond just listing what work is being done. It also needs to capture the strategy, how to safely manage these complex tasks and their interactions. It's not enough to simply say, here's the job. The permit should provide a clear, thought-out approach to getting it done safely. So, when you're building your PTW form, think of it as more than a form. It's a blueprint for safe execution, especially in environments where multiple high-risk activities might overlap. Alright, let's drill down into a vital question. What exactly should a Permit to Work form include? When we're talking about safety and high-risk jobs, this form isn't just a form, it's a safeguard. So let's explore each section in detail. First, basic details. Every PTW form must start with the essentials: permit number, date, location, and a clear description of the job. Names of everyone involved, the permit issuer, the receiver, and the work supervisor. These details anchor the permit and make sure there's no confusion about who's responsible for what. Second, risk assessment. This is where the real safety groundwork is laid. Start by identifying all hazards associated with the job, but don't stop there. Clearly specify the control measures. Here's a point many overlook. Control measures aren't just about PPE. They can also include instructions or information, barricading, specific equipment needs, or even tasks that must be done in a particular order. First, identify all hazards associated with the job. Ask yourself, what could go wrong? This is your foundation. Second, specify the control measures for each hazard. This is where many of us make a common mistake, thinking control measures are only about PPE, but in reality, there's so much more. So include things like instructions or information the team needs to know, any barricading or restricted areas, special equipment or tools required, and even the sequence of tasks. Sometimes the safest approach is all about doing things in the right order. Add a detailed note column in this section. This is often overlooked, but it's the perfect place to capture these specific details and make sure nothing slips through the cracks. Don't forget about isolation requirements. Whether it's electrical, mechanical, or chemical, you need to clearly note down what needs to be isolated to keep the work safe. And here's another critical point. It's not just about flipping a switch. Sometimes, you need a supervisor's input before the work starts. Other times, you might need a pre-inspection or spot checks during the work to make sure everything's still safe. These are the kinds of details that often get missed, but they're absolutely essential for preventing incidents. So, as you're filling out this part of the permit, treat it like a mini safety plan. Ask yourself, have we captured all hazards? Have we thought through every control measure beyond just PPE? Are the isolation requirements clearly defined? Is there a clear checklist for any supervision or inspections needed? Because at the end of the day, this section is where the real groundwork for safety is laid. Thirdly, authorizations and validity. This is where you specify the start and end times of the permit. Remember, if there's a change in personnel or a shift change, the permit must be reviewed or reissued. There's no such thing as simply handing over a permit without verification. It's a critical control point to ensure safety at all times. Finally, ensure there are sign-offs for starting, pausing, handing over, and closing the work. Each step needs to be documented. PPE and emergency response. Clearly list the required PPE for the task. Also include critical emergency details, contact numbers, assembly points, and first aid readiness. This section is your lifeline in case things go wrong. Monitoring. Here's where many PTW systems fall short in real life. Supervisors must conduct inspections and periodic checks, let's be honest. In too many workplaces, the PTW gets signed off, and then the workers go off to work unsupervised. This is where mistakes and near misses happen. So, your PTW form should clearly identify who is responsible for supervision and how often checks will occur. And finally, there needs to be a communication plan in case of any changes in the work environment or conditions. Don't leave this to chance, make it explicit in the permit. One last key point. All of this depends on how well you understand your facility. Too often, permit-to-work systems are copied from somewhere else, without considering what's actually available on site. For example, you might see a control measure listed that your site doesn't even have. So my advice? Dedicate time to developing a permit system that's built around your facility's real resources and risks. Don't rely on a one-size-fits-all approach. To bring it all together, let's remember this. A permit-to-work form is much more than a checklist. It's a living, breathing document. It's the difference between a job that's done safely and one that could lead to a serious incident. So, what should a truly effective permit-to-work form do? It must be detailed, covering every relevant aspect of the job and its hazards. It should be specific, tailored to your site and your real-world challenges. It has to be practical, something your people can actually use and understand. And let's not forget, it's not enough to just have a form. It must be supported by real-world checks and supervision. A permit-to-work form is only as good as the way it's actually used out in the field. But here's what's even more important in today's world. Permits today are no longer just static pieces of paper. They've become powerful sources of data and insight. When we fill out a permit, we're not just recording a job, we're creating a visual map of safety actions and site activity. We're documenting who did the work, when it was done, how often permits are issued in a particular area, and why. This information isn't just for compliance, it's for analysis, prediction, and continuous improvement. It can show us trends and patterns, helping us reduce maintenance downtime. It can highlight recurring issues, so we can target them and prevent future incidents. And ultimately, it can save time and resources by making our work smarter, not just safer. So as we design and use PTW forms, let's see them for what they really are. Tools for safety, tools for insight, tools for continuous improvement. Let's use them to not only protect our people today, but also to create a safer, more efficient tomorrow. Thank you all.